It is important that these so-called Democrats understand this. When thousands of Nigerians die in hospital beds due to lack of electricity or lack of medication, it is a crime. They are responsible for these sanctions. They are responsible for these deaths. The same thing happens in Mali. With Burkina, we have indirect sanctions because people have to understand. When they take their orders from the other side, they come and do everything to apply it. It is shameful. We are called putschists. We are not French. We do not understand what that means. Either we accept to fight, or we remain slaves forever, I tell you once. And there are some who are slaves in the head. They can only serve their master. And these people, each time they try to manipulate you, you must advise each other. Because each situation can be exploited by these enemies of the nation to try to discourage you, to demotivate you. So you must advise each other and do not pay attention to certain words.
Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing fine wherever you're watching me from. Black brothers and sisters, now I'm bringing you this speech from Ibrahim Traoré, the president of Burkina Faso. Now, in this very thrilling speech, he says that he welcomes back Black Americans and any other Black diasporian who is outside Africa, that this is the time to come and invest in Burkina Faso and the whole of Africa. Now, let's listen to this legend of Africa, then have a very quick discussion at the end of it. Thank you so much.
And the local people, who surely do not even understand the profound meaning of the word, also call us putschists. Very well, we appropriate it. Over the years, as far as Burkina Faso is concerned, you may have noticed all the bodies have been destructured. No more training, nothing left for the army. They imposed in all our major states, all our schools and all our strategic structures, what they called military councils. When we revolted on September 30th, 2022, the first thing was to find out who these military councils were and where they were. So we were able to identify that the evil was deep. And the first thing was to ask them to leave our army. They left. And what I told you not long ago, you cannot hope to find your lost object by calling on the one who stole it to come and help you find it. When we asked the military councils to leave, we felt manifestations. We were made to understand that we would not be able to get by without them. And every time they told us, it was translated by attacks on the ground. We received the message well. At the dawn of the year 2023, we decided to tell the foreign forces present here to leave, because we want to fight in Burkina Faso. They did not surely appreciate it, but why come and die on our land for us? We prefer to fight ourselves. We ask them to return home. Unfortunately, I tell you here today, as I like to say, colonization has returned. There are slaves of Ceylon who still have not understood. In the meantime, military officers wrote to us and approached us to tell us that it was a very bad decision and that we would not last 2 months. Files were written. We were sent these files to make a strategic analysis of their thoughts. We said either we are sovereign or we remain slaves forever. Indeed, when the last soldier left Burkina Faso, we understood what it was about. The attacks followed immediately. Dehao, Timnikov, Partiaga, and so on. But what they had forgotten was that the people of Burkina Faso had understood our message. And had engaged in the same way as we did. We reorganized quickly, and suddenly we noticed that all the sleeping terrorists had woken up in Burkina Faso. We reorganized the army as quickly as possible. At an unequal speed, we have created several units, and even if several others are yet to come, we have equipped them. And today this equipment continues because in the days to come, the months to come, what you will see coming to Burkina Faso must make our army a power to fear. We will not hesitate about the means. We understood that the fight against imperialism will be hard, very hard. But only the hard ones will pass, and the Burkinabés are hard, and we will pass. We have put on guard for more than a year the local valets, the slaves of Salon, so that they do not betray their country for the benefit of imperialism. Some have understood and organized themselves. Others have not understood. Maybe they thought they were smarter, but today we have no more feelings about this theft. Whoever betrays his country for the benefit of imperialism, he will be treated as such. Returning to our famous ECOWAS, since we decided to leave the ECOWAS, the slaves of Salon have been driven everywhere. They want to scare the people. They want to scare everyone. God, thank you. In a recent past, there were only a handful of people who had the right to speak. On the TV sets, that's what they said, who were ready for the gospel. Today, with the new technologies, which of course have advantages and disadvantages, everyone has the right to speak. And I think the Yayayes are the first to confirm this. Everyone can make his own analysis of a situation. We can certainly make mistakes, but when we come to understand, we are open to explain the process. Here we will explain to you why we left the ECOWAS and where we are going. Remember that it was in 1975 that it was created. And it was created for the majority of state leaders, putschists, as they like to say. It was the military who took the power and took the responsibility to create the ECOWAS, so that there was a real economic growth of the people inside this space. Later, the so-called Democrats were invited to the heads of our states. They completely emptied the community of its foundation. When on June 26, Nigeria decided to take its destiny into its own hands, we were surprised to see the ECOWAS appear on June 16th with a force in wait. Where was this force? When thousands and thousands of Nigerians were killed by terrorists, where was this force? When thousands of Malians and Burkinabés died under the bullets of terrorists, they said that by force they were going to house the valiant sons of Nigeria who took the destiny into their own hands. Do you believe that these are women who are in Nigeria? There are fighters there. The Nigerian army is a warrior. It has been fighting for years. It is not a parade army or a peacekeeping army. And the armies of the ECOWAS have decided to unite. We are waiting for this force in wait. It is important that these so-called Democrats understand this. When thousands of Nigerians die in hospital beds due to lack of electricity or lack of medication, it is a crime. They are responsible for these sanctions. They are responsible for these deaths. The same thing happens in Mali. With Burkina, we have indirect sanctions because people have to understand. When they take their orders from the other side, they come and do everything to apply it. It is shameful. Some have decided not to provide electricity to our countries. It is not free. We pay, and it contributes to their economy. They have tried to make Mali suffer. And of course, by ignoring all the texts and not providing electricity to Mali, hoping that the population would revolt. It does not work. When it lasted, some were forced to make their own people pay by increasing the cost of electricity. It will increase again. This gives us several lessons. Several lessons in the sense that the independence we take, the sovereignty we take, we must do everything for it to be. They have given us very good lessons, and we have understood very well. Some have closed their ports, which goes against all international texts, because we cannot close our ports in a landless country. They did it. They violated the text. The international community did not say a word.
I am not a politician and I don't beat around the bush. I am a soldier and I prefer to tell you the truth. Everyone is free to take it or leave it. Everyone drives their car, everyone lives well. We eat in the morning, we eat in the afternoon and evening, and we do whatever we want to do. We are free to speak, to say what we want. This is democracy. This is the law. That's all. That's all we know in Ouagadougou. But go and see them, the children who are skin and bones. Go see those who are starving. Go see those women who can no longer breastfeed because they have nothing left in their breasts. Go see them. Let's not pretend. If our journalists don't have the courage to go out in the field and bring back these images, it's because we want to whitewash Burkina's image. I'm telling you, it's false. It exists. When I tell you about people who eat grass, those who want to contest, I will take them to see it continues. It hasn't even stopped. because we have managed to supply some villages, but others not yet. We are still on the way. No civilian can even support us with trucks, so we can show solidarity with these populations. What kind of integrity is this? What is integrity, Burkina Faso? What is it? This lack of support has deeply unsettled and revolted us. Until we truly address the core issues plaguing this country, we will remain in a state of unrest and discontent. For the moment, we've managed to secure some trucks in the army and have been using our own means to transport supplies. However, this hasn't really added much to the support for the starving populations. And even in doing this, there's been a distinct lack of empathy. The citizens were aware of the situation, but they've remained on the sidelines. This is to say that solidarity has disappeared in Burkina. Have pity for the people, have pity for the youth, have pity for the children. What have these villagers done so that when the sun sets, they find themselves in caves and under trees? They leave village after village, and in the morning they come back to see if everything is okay before returning. They sleep in the bush. They cannot sleep in their homes. We don't tell you these truths. This is the reality of Burkina. We only see our cities. We are responsible for what happens to us, and we will be fully responsible for what will follow, whether it is good or bad. It will depend on our behavior in the future. This continent has suffered so much and continues to suffer because of imperialists. These imperialists have only one cliché in mind. Africa is the empire of slaves. This is how they see Africa. For them, Africans belong to them. Our lands belong to them. Our subsoil belongs to them. They have never been able to change the logic until today. This is deplorable. But how do they proceed? Unfortunately, it is since the 1960s that these 6,000 acres of independence have been given to Africa. They have just placed local valets at the head, according to them, of their sub-prefecture to be able to continue to feed them. These local valets, which we are going to call today the slaves of Salon, have other goals. They want to live like the master, to satisfy the master, and to do everything that the master dictates to them. They steal, they plunder our states, they bring everything to the master, and their wealth is kept with the master. They do everything to live like the master and always satisfy him. Do you know who these slaves of Salon are? Well, we are going to explain to you what they are. They are individuals who have no dignity, who have no morals, who have no personality. But the master slave has always known how to identify these individuals. They are always ready to betray their brother to satisfy the master. They have betrayed us since independence, and others continue to betray us to the benefit of their master. These individuals continue, against all odds, to help the master plunder Africa. They like to say it every year. In their economic polls, Burkina is the poorest country, Mali is the poorest country, Niger is the poorest country. We are ranked among the last. Very well, if we are as poor as they say. But when the time has come to take responsibility, we have asked this master to leave the place. Why don't they want to leave? When we take the case of Niger, for more than 40 years, some countries have been exploiting uranium to produce energy at home. From Ottawa to Paris, the streets are illuminated. It is the light. But in Niger, it is the darkness that has served us. When you go to our states, our soils are full of precious metals, such as gold. But often there is not even the slightest road accessible to reach the areas where they exploit gold, even less certain basic social services. This is why we have decided to revolt and take the fate of our countries into our own hands. There are many other examples, but when we decided so, we were approached by some saloon slaves to pass on the message of their master. Because they had created this kind of polymer chain that rises to the heads of our states to serve them. And we came to break the chain. And it is inconceivable for them. They approached us and asked us to enter the ranks to make the elite leave that must lead Africa. Because they have an elite formed and formatted that must follow, that is embedded in this chain. We refused to enter their ranks. And then the hostilities began. They have sent several mercenaries and trainers to our area. The agents have descended into the Sahel to carry out barbaric, cowardly attacks against our people, hoping to revolt them. In addition to these attacks on the ground, the attacks on communication, manipulation, and disinformation are full in their ranks. But the people of the Sahel have understood, and we will never be able to be manipulated again. They know where they come from, they know what they are doing, and they know where they are going.
Even on certain media, everyone is not obliged to be a patriot. You are the first patriots. You have decided to defend the country. There is nothing better than that. Those who want to support you, let them support you. Those who want to discourage you through writing, you must close your ears and move forward. We must remember something. Recently, there was a so-called NGO. It is not even a NGO because a NGO is a non-governmental organization. But they are not non-governmental because they are financed by a federal budget, by a state. This so-called NGO produces reports to say that the FDS and the VDP are carrying out executions. They came in and left here. It is to stain your morale. It is to scare you, to prevent you from being able to fight. No. Besides, we will take this NGO into account because people must understand something. What is happening to us here? It is true that they have manipulated a part of our population in the Sahel, but they did not have this armament. What led to this important armament? It is Libya. Who destroyed Libya? It is this NGO, the same NGO that made these false reports and gave to whoever wanted to create a rebellion for people to intervene and make Gaddafi fall. And the powder is spilled in the Sahel. These millions of lives that were taken in the Sahel, we must take into account this NGO because it is responsible for these false reports that it made to consolidate this thesis of attacking Libya. They have no moral lessons to give us. Look at the world. Let them defend human rights everywhere in the world before coming here. We have the chance to have similar situations in this world. You are engaged voluntarily. There are countries where we take force, we kill. You leave or you die. Others, even if they want to flee, end up dying. They do not speak of human rights because these people see us as subhumans. They see us as slaves. It's like that in their heads. They have never changed their logic. But it is up to us to show them that we are not slaves and we will never accept this state of affairs. So there is no need to let yourself be overwhelmed by the story they tell, whoever wants to hear it. You have to stay focused on your fight. Stay focused. We know what we are doing. And even now, the commander of BVDP told me that there is a training session on human rights for the benefit of group leaders and their subordinates, which is ongoing. If we make an effort, we know that it is for us. We do not do anything to please anyone. We do it for our country. And you are committed to that. Defend your country. Do not listen to these individuals. They should not affect your morale. In the history of the world, there have been wars. And during the Second World War, people organized themselves to defend themselves, a little bit everywhere. But there was a country that could not defend itself, that had to come and take our ancestors to go and defend them.
Et aujourd'hui, ce même pays veut nous donner des leçons.
And today, this same country wants to teach us the hospital that laughs at charity.
No. Vous êtes les descendants
No,
de ces mêmes ancêtres
you are the descendants
qui sont allés
of these
défendre
same
les autres
ancestors
qui ont
who went to
libéré le
defend the
monde du
others,
nazisme.
who freed the world from
Aujourd'hui,
Nazism.
vous vous battez pour vos terres. Ces mêmes
Today, you fight for your
individus
lands. These same individuals dare to create terms to dirty you.
Nous nous opposons à cela. Nous ne serons
We
jamais
oppose
d'accord.
this. We will never agree.
Continuez à défendre vos terres. Ce sont vos richesses qui intéressent ces gens.
Continue to defend your lands. It is your wealth that interests these people. It is our gold, our minerals that interest them.
Now, I keep on saying that Africans and the black continent is blessed. Now, sometimes you are blessed and you can see it. Sometimes you have everything you want, but you can't see it. Only someone else can see it for you. We've been blinded for the longest time, and we've been living a lie as Africans and as black people. Now, one of the blessings that we have in Africa is Ibrahim Traoré, the president of Burkina Faso. That's why you see they're trying to fight him as much as they can to eliminate and make sure that they paint his name in a very bad way. We've been seeing things happening, and the leaders that were elected by the popular vote in Africa can't say anything. And this is why we, the people of Africa, the youths of Africa, the black people in the diaspora, are supporting Ibrahim Traoré. The initiatives that is bringing his policies, he's saying this is the time we should call upon black leaders to one meeting and say, yes, enough is enough. We want our black people back in our countries. We want them to bring the knowledge. We want them to bring the investments back to Africa. If it were not for black Americans, if it were not for African Americans, if it were not for black people, and through the transatlantic slave trade that took place, Europe could not be Europe. US could not be US. Industrial revolution took place because if you look, one of the major factors that they're trying to hide is cheap labor from black people. They worked their asses out without even being paid. And this is whatever we are talking about right now. These are things that we want to address. These are things that Ibrahim Traoré, the president of Burkina Faso, is addressing. That our own black leaders do not want to see African Americans or black Americans coming back to their homelands. After our greedy grandfathers, who were the chiefs or the leaders of then, sold them for mirrors, for sugar, for sweets to the oppressor. And now the leaders that we've elected are actually siding with the oppressor. What difference? Then why were we fighting to get independence if we are still being controlled and being manipulated by the white powers or by the Western powers to date? I think our ancestors or our great-great-grandfathers fought for this independence so that we might be free, that we might not work for them for free wages. That one day a black man will stand by himself or herself and speak out his ideas without someone else being pinpointed or dragged down because they hold a contrary opinion to the Western policies. Now, it pisses me off so much to see that our own black leaders have proceeded ahead and sided with the black people. Now, see the policies, see the taxation in Africa, see the people complaining in Africa. This is why we are out here for a wake-up call to all black Americans, to everyone watching this video, that this is the time we should support one of our own, Ibrahim Traoré, to bring the change. We've been seeing it. Anyone who tries to come out and contradict their policies in Africa is being taken down. But for this one man, Africa is behind you. And the youths of Africa really expect so much from you. That we want to see our own brothers in the diaspora coming back. And Ibrahim Traoré is promising that. It is very rare to hear anyone mention that in Africa. Our African leaders know that black diasporians carry a lot of knowledge, and when they come to Africa, they won't accept the same nonsense to be done to their brothers here in the continent. That's why they carry so much fear with them, that they have put so much restrictions, and it is so hard to get a passport and to be allowed to live in your own motherland. So this is a very work time that we want to call out everyone who is in every capability to be responsible for whatever is happening. That I want to call upon black Americans, take the initiative and take it in a very positive way and have some savings. Go to Burkina Faso, get some investment. This is the time to come back to your motherland. The motherland is calling for you. You've been long lost for the longest time. You've been out there fighting racial segregation, fighting oppression, and now a leader has come out who has seen how much you've suffered and is offering an opportunity for you to go and invest in Burkina Faso and in West Africa. You can go invest in Mali. This is a very wake-up call. I saw Ghana did it some years back, and it was called the Year of Return, where our black brothers and sisters were coming back from the diaspora to come in and invest in Africa. And some of them received some land at a very lower price, and just for 500 USD there are countries that you can get huge tracts of land. So take this as a very positive initiative from Burkina Faso President Ibrahim Traoré, and try to make some savings and come back to Africa. Africa is calling, and Africa is Ibrahim Traoré. I'm very much grateful to share this information with you, because we've been seeing things happening and no one wants to talk about them. We've been living in darkness. Our mineral resources have been taken. The chances that were there, the opportunities that were there for black Americans to come and invest in Africa have been taken by France, have been taken by UK, and we still do not have anything to say. And we still just watch and say, oh, it's okay, let them stay on the other side of the world. No, you've even seen their media trying to propel a feud between Africans in the continent and those ones that are outside the continent, in that they try to say that we African in the continent do not like the black Americans, which is a total lie. It is a way of separating the unity that should be existing between the two of us. So, black brothers and sisters, much has have been said in the video, and I think this is just a wake-up call to all who will come across this video that Africa is calling, the motherland is calling. Get prepared. If you've been through so many atrocities, if you've been through so many injustices, this is the time. You can come to the motherland and try to invest and make a living out of it. Thank you so much and have a very good time. Thank you.